welcome to the Victim to Victory podcast series. My name is Tracy Cook. I have a very special guest with us today, and this series gives a voice to those that have overcome obstacles in all forms, that dare greatly to share their real stories. Amazing humans that have seen hope, risen above those adversities to become victorious, and they now go on to support and inspire others to do the same. And today we're giving a voice to Joe Kolar from Slovakia. Hi, Joe.
Hi, Tracy. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Now, I want you to really get to know Joe a little bit, and he's absolutely amazing. I connected with him through the John Tellerico group, and he is helping people, especially in the space of motivational speaking. He's a very positive vibe. He's a change maker. He's the change that the world needs, especially now as a result of 2020. He helps people discover their true potential and reach the best version of themselves. He's a certified NLP practitioner, mindset coach, and motivational speaker. And I'm very interested, Joe, to hear your story.
Thank you very much, Tracy. This is very kind intro. Thank you.
You're welcome. And where did you grow up in Slovakia, Joe?
I'm from second largest city in Slovakia. With numbers, it would be pretty small if we compare it to big cities in the world. It has around 300,000 people. Then as kids, when I was around 8, we moved to even smaller. So it compared to village, small town growing up.
Wonderful. And where does your story start?
My story starts in the hardest part of my life that I have experienced after bankruptcy of my company. I'll jump before that slide a bit. I worked in 2005 in Ireland for W. Clement Stone's organization called Combined Insurance, door-to-door sales of insurance. And after coming back to my country, I met my former wife. We had a beautiful daughter. But as I mentioned, the bankruptcy, and in the whirlpool of changes, of hardship and hard times, I decided to change places to get a breath of fresh air and to get some new perspective and perception on life. So I went back to Ireland because I have friends there. I have a bit of background history over there. So I thought things gonna start improving, But little did I know that that would be the beginning of my hardest part of my life.
So when we're expecting new beginnings, there's actually more underlying to that, isn't there?
Absolutely, absolutely. New beginnings are coming from chaos and from dirt, as Mr. Brown is saying.
Definitely. Now, I know that you delivered a very powerful speech on the Les Brown Summit as well.
I did, and to be honest, I was driven by fear. Fear prior to the speech, right? Les Brown is my hero in my life. He's a part of the story that I delivered there, because especially in 2013, when I left for Ireland, as I mentioned prior, I was battling through all kind of demons you can imagine. Prior to that, I was running a company. I was a national sales director for an insurance company here in my country. And all of a sudden, everything was gone. My marriage was in bits and pieces. And when you're really down on your knees financially, emotionally, when there's no one around you, you start looking for any help you can find. Fortunately, in my worst times, there was no one around me that could understand me, no one around me that could hear or speak to me. That was the time when I turned to what I never believed before I will do. I turned upward and asked God for help. I never believed that there is something like God, right? But I did receive help in Les Brown's motivational speaking. Anytime, even now, after all these years, when I hear his voice, my hair on my arm stands up. He's a very special person to me. And particularly in a speech that he'd done in a Georgia Dome, in those very hard emotional moments, I said to myself, because I was on the verge of suicide, I'm not hiding that. It was very tough not to see your family, the daughter especially, losing everything. I did swore to myself, to God, to Les, that when I'll pull through, I will spend the rest of my life helping other people overcome whatever they are overcoming, and to make sure that I will help as many people as possible. So that's where my story really started, right? It took 7 years. 7 years to realize that, yes, I can do it. Because, we are, as you know, Tracy, we are, there are two fears that are the biggest one, as they say. It's fear of death and fear of motivational speaking, or fear of public speaking, to be precise. Second part of my story that I shared on Les Brown's platform was from March 1st of this year, when I was pulled back to this earth from, I was almost dead, right? It was seconds away from it. And after I woke up, I had 8 days in ICU to think. And people who have experienced something similar, either very hard experiences as hardships in life, or they wanted to leave this world, or were dying for some reason, they would and will understand those thoughts that are going through your head when they'll bring you back to life and you have to do nothing because you can't move, but your mind won't stop. And as we know, we have about 50 to 60,000 thoughts each day. Now, all of them were directed towards, what have I done in life that when God or whoever is running this place will switch me off, what will I leave in here? We can say that's legacy, but you can call it whatever way you like. What will I leave behind me? What? House, apartment, material things, laptop, car? That's going to be, that will age and that'll be gone, right? So I began thinking, if I'm going to good direction, yes, I went through at that stage of Les Brown's motivational speaking, but of course I am certified motivational speaker by Les Brown, but I haven't done anything. It was just another course I took, right? I still didn't go public. I still didn't pursue my calling as helping people in a larger scale, in a larger number. Because prior March 1st, I was scared of camera. I was scared of people, of speaking. I still don't do Facebook Lives. I still don't do lives, but because of partial leftovers of fear. My biggest realization with that event was I fainted 3 times during one day, because my lung burst. My left lung burst, and as the part of the lung was filled with blood, my heart got pushed to the other side, and that was the cause for fainting, right? But there was no fear. It was strange for me after I woke up the 3rd time and I got help from doctors. When I started questioning myself, fear? What fear? What were you afraid of up till now? Even that experience showed me that 99.9% of fear we are creating in our minds, in our head, and it will never happen. So why not go ahead and do what you feel you're here to do? In my case, it's helping people to overcome hardships that they're going through at the moment. In somebody else's case that is looking at this podcast now or in the future, it could be painting, it could be cooking, it could be babysitting, it could be, I don't know, sweeping streets. It doesn't matter what it is, once it's making you happy. We are going through life now. I'm speaking from my personal perspective, right? We're going through life searching for that outer happiness, outer source. What should I do? Should I do what my neighbor is doing? Should I do what my cousin is doing? Should I do what my the people that I admire are doing? No, we should do what feels good for us to do. But we are blinded with this carrot and stick case, right? When you leave school and they'll show you a wage that they'll blindfold you, right? Because you can, all of a sudden you can afford mortgage, you can afford a car, you can have, you can go to more expensive restaurants to bring your date out or your friends out. But that's all just an illusion. You'll go 5, 10, 15, 20 years without even knowing where you're going. I know this might sound harsh, but I'm working
so true. It's so true.
Yeah. I'm working since I was 14 because my mother was very sick at the time. She was raising us as a single parent. And at the time, all she had left was an equivalent to dollars was $7 left when I was going to a high school on a weekly basis. So I was away for a week and then come back for a weekend. And I wouldn't take the last money there. So I started working, selling vegetables on the markets, right? But fast forward, it's 23 years that race that I had. And for what?
Mm.
So even in the worst experiences in my life, the experience in Ireland when I was going through the bankruptcy, it was year 2014, and then 2021, which are 7 years apart. Those are wake-up calls that we have. But the question is, how many wake-up calls do we have? How many chances we will get?
Definitely.
We don't know. The only important thing is that we are here now. We can do something with it.
And I think you touched on so many parts there as well. I mean, you said you've been, brought up, by your mum, and you've had suicidal thoughts, and you've gone through money hardships and financial hardships, and a divorce and a separation, and there's a lot of things that have actually made you who you are today. And taking those concepts as well of, we're brought up in this social conditioning, and I love the way you said we're blindfolded because we lack direction, we lack knowing what we want to do on the inside, and we lack listening to our inner self and questioning, well, why are we doing this? Why is it expected for us to, go to school, get married, buy a house, have a 9-to-5 and work it for 50 years, and you just might have 10 years of retirement at the end? Why can't we do what makes us happy now? And why can't we look inside and step outside of that box? And, Louise Hay said it the best, feel the fear and do it anyway. And we're driven by this societal fear that keeps us inside this box where we can't read our label. And I just think you touched on so many different points of that. And if you don't mind, Joe, like when you were going through those times of I can't do this anymore. You know, I'm going to end it. There's nothing to look forward to. Would you mind sharing a few more emotions around that?
No, I don't mind at all. Actually, just as you asked this question, it was this one particular time when I had those thoughts, right? Prior and after that, it would never cross my mind, right? But sometimes you will come into emotional bundle. I could call it, I don't know how is it called in English, because English is not my first language, but when you have, let's say you have a wire, right? And it's cut and you can see the sparkles. How do you call that event on the cut wire?
Cut wire, I suppose. I don't know what the ideal word would be, but it would be, you can see the inside.
No, the jump of the electricity.
Like a spark.
Spark, yeah, it doesn't matter. This was for me just a bad spark thinking about leaving this world because of all of the events happening at once. Bankruptcy, facing divorce, not be able to see my daughter because my first wife was refusing it to show it to me even through Zoom. But even that, I still had built-in kind of mechanism in my mind that I collected along the way from my teens age. I was always surrounded by people older than me by 10, 15, or 20 years from business areas. I have friends that were owning restaurants, coffee shops. There were artists creating sculptures. So I was seeing a different frame of mind. And in this particular time when I had a suicidal thought, I still had autopilot, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, right? So whatever you are surrounding yourself with, it will have a huge effect on you. With the help of Les Brown's speech, I got re-sparked in a positive way.
And do you think too that, and we hear this expression every now and again, the conversation is different at the winners table, and you are who you hang around. So if you're hanging around and associating and talking different conversations, then that elevates you to do better. And I've heard also, you never want to be the smartest person in the room, otherwise you need to go find another room. Because what I've found from talking to so many people, amazing humans like yourself, Joe, is when you actually surround yourself with people that genuinely care, support, empower you, or just respect you, then even if you're having those thoughts, and I think you've touched on this, you can actually pull yourself above that because you're not surrounding yourself with people that are wanting to pull you down like the crabs in the bucket. You know, you try to crawl out and the crabs in the bucket keep pulling you back down on it. It's safe down here. This is, you know, don't go out there. You don't know what's out there. You don't want to test what's out there into the unknown. So I'm guessing that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when we're having those kind of thoughts, then a lot of it has to do with who we're hanging around, if we can see our potential through them. And sometimes somebody believes in us before we believe in ourselves as well, to pull us through those dark times. Would you agree with that kind of thing?
Absolutely, Tracy. Yeah, I was fortunate enough that I was always stubborn and always strong-minded. It always had to be the way I decided, I imagined, I said it that it would be. And thank God it led me as far in my life as I am now. I don't let other people's opinion interrupt what I want. But on the other hand, because of my strong-headedness, I never had too many people around me. So I never paid attention to those crabs trying to drag you down. But on the other hand, there aren't too many people that I could have surrounded myself with as an inspiration, as someone that I could look up to. That was the opportunity again for me to look elsewhere, to look in waters that the crabs, as we are calling them, might never experience, because I was looking for more. I wanted more. I wanted to see what is possible to achieve in life. That's why I started looking for people like Tony Robbins, Les Brown. I have a brilliant mentor in Australia, in Perth as well. His name is Kerwin Ray. You might know him as well. He's a
I've met
legend.
Kerwin. I've actually had drinks with Kerwin
Oh, I
many years
love
ago.
Kerwin. Yeah, yeah, he's a legend. So you can pick your focus where your attention will go. You can pick who you are going to survive yourself with. And most important, you can pick who you will model. Now, what do you mean by modeling, Joe? Model the positive traits and sides of that person that you like and admire on that person. Now, I don't want to copy Kerwin. I don't want to copy Les, but I will definitely model the parts that are close to my heart. One of the closest people to my heart is John Tallarico. The first time I saw the guy, I never liked him. I never liked Bob Proctor. Why? Because I was ignorant. That's the only reason why. But John he's the size of the heart on that person is huge, same as Les, same as Kerwin, same as all of those people that we are learning from. But they're no different than us. They're exactly same as we are. They just have started their journey a bit earlier than we did. They're spending more time in self-development journey than some of us might do, but they are very same than us. They love helping people. So as you were saying or asking about surrounding yourself, that depends who you're surrounding yourself with. Yes, because I grew up in a very small town, the common denominator of life as it is, you wake up in the morning, well, for most people, you go for 8 or 9 hours to work, you'll come home, you have your snack, you go to pub, you come home, and you go to bed. Now, I was watching my neighbors going through those routines, and I was like, this can't be it. I didn't know why I'm having these thoughts, but I'm not here to do that. I never saw interest in drugs, even though I was in Japan for 6 months, and I was working in a nightclub as a young guy, and I was surrounded with drugs, with alcohol. But that was never my thing. When I was growing up, my father was alcoholic as well. It wasn't my thing. I know that there is more in here, why we have been put in here. And as we chatted prior to beginning of this podcast, as you mentioned, helping people that you do, Tracy, I think that's phenomenal. That's phenomenal, because when I remember my child stages, teen stages, I would give whatever to have someone that could lead me. Not alone child's age. I was 20. It was in Ireland, and I was already after successful years in W. Clement Stone organization when the hit movie Secret came out in 2007, right? But I was so ignorant that the only person that I didn't like was Bob Proctor. And it took 14 years, 13 and a bit, of depriving myself from this that I am involved in at the moment. But it was brought back to me in the most beautiful way with John Tallarico, right? Because John is one of the top coaches from Bob Proctor. So I am at the moment, or I have joined Bob Proctor's organization as well. But it just shows us importance of help in life and importance of having someone to talk to and give you different perspective. Have I had someone in 2007 explaining to me, Joe, there's no problem with Bob, there's no problem with what he's teaching, it's you that you are ignorant, I could have been elsewhere. I could have helped already another thousands or tens or hundreds of thousand people. But everything is happening the way it's supposed to. Otherwise, it would have happened the other way. So I'm glad I'm alive. I'm glad that I can be part of your podcast, Tracy, because there are for sure people that are watching this and hearing this, and they might be going through difficult times. They see the message, and I want to share this message to them that whatever you're going through, you can ask for help. You can do it. We can do it. We're here to help.
Definitely. And I love the way you said that in your true transparency, that you were ignorant and you just, you didn't like Bob Proctor, but there's also the saying that when the student is ready, the master will appear, right? So when we're meant to actually hear the message, that is the moment that we hear the message. And when we hear it, it will change our life. People can walk through life and hear messages all the time, but it's when we actually really take that in and take that energy vibration in and think, this is what I need to go to my next level. This is what I need to change my life, or this is what I need to help that person. And when the student is ready, the master appears every single time. And I wanted to touch on what you said about John Tallarico as well, because I as well think that he's amazing. And I know that he left you an amazing testimony as well. And he has said that Joe is one of the most insightful and impactful people I know. He is on a mission to change the world. And if you're fortunate enough to meet Joe, I promise you, he will change yours. And going through all of that, the alcoholic father and the suicidal thoughts and, financial difficulties and divorce, there's not only the life skills that you've got there, but also that transparency and that honesty and those life lessons as well, that you've actually walked the walk and you're talking the talk because you've been there, you've done that. You can put yourself in other people's shoes and you're on this ongoing quest of learning, and you're almost investing, learning and teaching others along the way as well. Would that be right?
Absolutely, Tracy. From financial point of view, I haven't invested over 100,000 already into my self-development, but I can tell you it will never stop. As same as we are using these black or white boxes, they never stop evolving. They never stop upgrading them. So we should ever stop upgrading our mind, our skills. The best experiences you will ever get in life are those that you go through, as you mentioned a few seconds ago. Whatever I am forwarding to people, I'm trying to choose the proper words, are my own experiences, are my own perceptions on problems that I went through, and people can either take it or no. As you mentioned, when the student is ready, teacher will appear. We often go through life moaning and complaining, oh, I'm not fortunate, I don't have this, I don't have that. I was changing apartments on Valentine's Day this year, and I found books that I bought in 2005. Those were one of the first motivational books that I bought, and it's actually a book from Tony Robbins. I wasn't ready. First of all, my level of understanding of English language was at the very beginning, because there was the time that I started working in W. Clement Stone's organization. Then 2 years later, I was exposed to The Secret, Bob Proctor, but I wasn't ready. I was hungry, I wanted, but I wasn't ready. I had to go through every single experience that I went, because that have made who I am at the moment. And I'm sure that there are experiences ahead of me that will make me even more experienced person. I don't want to say better person, better version of me that I can be, so I can serve others. Because from material point of view, what do we want in life? You have where to sleep. If you have a car, you're fortunate, so you don't have to walk, you can drive. You dress, you have clean water. Like, what else do you want? You have food on the table every single day. What more? What more can you want? But you will have 2 cars, 2 houses. What do you need that for? You don't. But the best feeling that you guys can have is when you see that your experience that you have shared with someone is helping him to ease a bit his turmoil or his hardship that he's going through, because he see that you went through the same thing and that it is possible for him. This
Definitely.
money can't buy that.
You know what, Joe? As you were saying those words, and it reminded me of a thing I seen about a month ago. And there was a homeless guy that is constantly seen out the front of a shopping centre close by to me. And somebody had given him like a sandwich, like from the deli there. And I actually seen another homeless guy come up and sit next to him. They were talking, and you just kind of watch out the corner of your eye, and actually seen him break it in half and give the other half to the other guy. And a lot of people wouldn't pick up on that kind of thing, but he didn't have to do that. He's down on his luck, he's homeless, he's known in the area, he's a lovely guy, but somebody gave him a sandwich and he's got nothing, and he still shared his sandwich with another homeless person. And I just think that we need that humility. We need to let go of that ego that holds us onto all of those materialistic things, like you were saying, because, at the end of the day, you don't, you know, stand at somebody's funeral and hear, oh, they had 10 cars and they had 12 houses, and you hear what kind of person and what substance they're made of. What was their character? What's their integrity? Who did they help? What legacy did they leave behind? And I'm so glad that your message is kind of strong on that as well, Joe, because it hits home that we are more than just our material things. We're our mind, we're our spirit, and we are who we are in the community. And I love the way your messages and your brand almost really speaks volumes in that. And the biggest life experience that you've had, Joe, what kind of message would you like to leave our audience on about all these things, wonderful, amazing things that have made you who you are? What kind of message would you like to leave with our audience?
Be you is a very strong message. Be you who you want to be, not who your wife, father, mother, friends, colleagues want you to be, but be you, who you are, who you wanted to be. In case of fear, the only thing that thinking will not overcome fear, only action will do, right? Whatever you fear to do is actually your greatest step forward in whatever you're pursuing, in whatever in life that you want to do. And the very strong quote saying that I took it as mine at this stage of my life is that everything you're going through, yes, I'm reading it because I put it down. Everything you are going through is preparing you for what you've asked for. You can connect the dots looking backwards, as Steve Jobs said it, but it is right. I would never change any single moment or second or experience in my life, because it did make me who I am at the moment. And even growing up in poor environment, I'm very grateful that it did happen that way, because it did show me humility. Because it showed me people that I just have those flashes from my childhood when, when I was in a village where my mother was born, and as kids we were passing gardens, and there were old grannies. They gave you all they had when they took apples from a tree, right? That's all they had. And not the fruit, but the feeling is that you will remember to the rest of your life. Because from financial perspective, Tracy, imagine the crazy world that we have at the moment. Yes, we do need money to live. We do need money to help. We do need money to serve. But imagine just for the moment that they will switch off the electricity. All of the digits that you have in your bank account, wherever you want to have them, they're gone. What you will be left with? What will you have? Will people stand by you and help you because of who you are, because what you have done in your life? Or your material things are all that you can show for in your life? That's exactly what you said a few minutes ago when you said that you won't take anything to your grave. That's what I go by in my life. That's what I've been taught in beautiful part of my life when I spent 6 months in Japan, 5 years in Ireland, things that I'm carrying from my childhood, from hard experiences. I would never change that for money.
I think that's so perfectly said, Joe. And I think it's a great message that you're actually delivering to the world. And where can people actually find you if they need to find you?
I have a webpage, joekolar.com. You can find me on social medias by the same name, on Facebook, on Instagram. On my webpage, there is a special offer that I have designed for people that were looking at the Power Voice Summit that I've been so fortunate to be a part of on Les Brown's platform. And there's a burst version of Wheel Test for themselves, free. They can pick from my site whatever they like, free gratitude journal. And I do offer free 30-minute coaching call. If I can be any help or assistant to a person, by any means, book a free call.
I'm sure that you will definitely be helping a lot more people, Joe. It has been an absolute pleasure today to talk with you and for you to share those life experiences and how you're actually being a change maker in the world as well. So thank you so much for being brave to share your story, and we'll be sharing where to connect with you as well. So you are so appreciated, and you can find the Victim to Victory podcast series on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, and our Facebook group as well. So please subscribe, share, and comment. Share Joe Kolar's links everywhere you can, because he is the change that the world needs. And let me leave you with a message as well of stepping into your story, figuring out who you are, and doing it on purpose. Joe, been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tracy, for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.